jump into the next question. What are your thoughts on proxying for teams which are not yet released yet? E.g., I've just bought some Khorne Berserkers and I want to play them as Felgor Ravagers.
So I absolutely love it. So I think you got to find a team that matches your flavour, matches your vibe, where it's going to be, and enjoy it, right? So in my mind, Khorne Berserkers as Felgor Ravagers is like the perfect combo, right? Like they're a bunch of dudes that are melee focused, and you can have some really good fun kit bashing them. I think there are some key fundamentals that when you're proxying that you need to follow. So the absolute must is base size must be the same, because in Kill Team, base size makes an absolutely humongous difference. It affects non-reciprocal shooting, it affects melee positioning, it affects charge blocking. It changes so much. If you turn up with a 40mm base, your ability to be on an objective and be in melee with someone, it's completely different. So your base size must be the same, right? So, which is fine. And I think, for instance, in this instance, Khorne Berserkers are on 32s anyway. Perfect. So away you go, right? So first things first, make sure your base size are the same, and then no one's going to have any major issues. Next thing is make sure the model size is as close as possible. So if your guys are a bit shorter than the original model, well, just bump up the base a little bit, right? If they're a bit bigger, then that's actually probably a disadvantage to you in this instance because you're a melee person. But if you have a higher head, whatever it's going to be, then make sure it's not too ridiculous or anything like that, and you should be fine. But those are the two, I guess, most important things. The next thing I would say is that make it so the models are as easy as possible for your opponent to understand which model they are, right? If it's difficult for your opponent to look at it and go, I don't know who this guy is, and you've got a guy that's got a chain axe and a bolt pistol, but you say that it's your heavy bolter dude, that's rough, right? Or you go, actually, the guy that's got the one ear that's spiky out and the other one's not is the plasma guy. I know he looks like got a chainsaw, but trust me, he is. That sort of stuff probably isn't going to float at any sort of tournament. But I think if you turn up and say, "Hey, I've got this really cool Khorne Berserker team," and they're kitted out with the right war gear, so you've given the guy that has the huge mace, a big mace. You've given the guy that's got the two big claws, while you've given him some demon claws or something. The guy that's got the grenade, the Toxhorn, you've given him a grenade. People are going to love that, and they're going to get so excited about it, right? And perfect example, you go to the Not Kill Team group. They've got some fantastic kit bashes. Chris has got his Blooded Kill Team. He's taken individual Imperial models. So he's got a Sister of Battle. He's got a Navy Breacher. He's got a Vet Guard. He's got a Kazakin, etc., etc. And he's made each of these models into various blooded models, right? But Nurgle versions. Look incredible. Johnny's got his novitiates, and they're all they're kit bashed and they're from various different kits, But when you look at it, you go, "Oh, that is obviously that model." I think he's got a Callous Assassin with the crossbow as the what's she called? Whatever the crossbow girl is in novitiates. But you look at it and you go, "Oh, the girl with the crossbow is the girl with the crossbow," right? That's a good level of proxying, I think, and that's really that's the thing that's going to get people excited to play with you and interact with you, and they're going to be excited to learn about your models and why you've built them in a certain way. Maybe you have a particular affinity to Khorne. I don't know who that could be, but maybe they are, but you don't want to play Beastmen. That's a perfect proxy. I'm aware, by the way, Connor, that I'm talking to you because you have just put this question in here, right? This is you, right? but those are the main points. So make sure it has the same base size. Make sure the model is approximately the same dimensions. If you're ever in doubt, always model for disadvantage. All right. So let's say your opponent thinks that your model shouldn't be able to get visibility because you've given him 8 heads and he should only have 1. Well, then you rule in the sense that, well, you have a cool model on the table, but at the end of the day, you have deviated from the norm and therefore your opponent should get the benefit of that, right? So that's what I would go with, and make sure that they're recognizable. So when you look at it, you go, that's what it is. And if you have gone for something that's particularly out there, then maybe you can label the bases, or you can bring data cards with the pictures of the models that you have on them and give them to your opponent at the start, right? And you can go, hey, here's my legionary team. They don't look very conventional. So what I've done is I've got a picture that shows the model and all the rules beneath them. And I'm going to put them in front of you so you have access to my rules, and you're never going to get confused. And that's maybe a way around it. But that's probably what I would say. I'm like, I don't think... I was going to say, I don't think anyone has a problem with proxying. There are probably some people out there that do. I think if you follow those key rules, people aren't going to mind. That they're generically, people are going to be excited about the hobby aspect, and they're going to be excited to play with you and learn more about your team. So long as you do those, if you turn up with a 25mm base for your Custodes, and it's actually based on a grot, and you say that I can't see him because he's hiding behind a barricade, then I'm probably going to call you out. Like that's the way it is. But if you turn up with someone that's also on a 40mm base, but is like, what was the one that we had previously? It was the guys that had the Custody Orcs. Did you see those, Connor, on Instagram and Discord? And it was a while back. They turned up to some of the London tournaments. Do you ever see them? The what do they call them?
No, but I've seen some phenomenal orc kit bashes.
Custorcs?
No, they weren't Custodians on I saw, but I've seen some. Like, orcs are just a great thing to use some imagination and convert anything with, I think. But no, I didn't see these Custodes. But
long story short, right? He had a bunch of I guess it was like maybe they're based on Meganobs. I'm not really too sure what they're based on, but they're 40mm like bases. They're orcs. They're the same size. They're easily recognizable. But it's playing them as Custodes, right? And it's like, I loved it. Like you remember Sean Gorman and his Pathfinder?
Yes, they're the orcs I was thinking
Vet Guard, right? They were
not the Imperial Guard one. No, I was thinking of someone playing Pathies as orcs. But yeah.
Yeah, well, he had the Vet Guard rules, but he was using Tau models, and they look so cool, like so cool. So anyway, slightly off topic, but my point being is, if they're on the right size base and they're easily distinguishable as to what they are, no one is going to care. And like Sean did a perfect thing. Like he had like he printed out all of the rules and made them all, like every single one, for his Tau faction. So you could see that it was like really obvious, and he could lend you the rules and be like, hey, look at these. This is what it is. So that's like the best way of doing it, I think. And so there has been some fantastic kit bashes in the community. I don't see anyone having any issues. I think go for it, but just make it as on the same base, as close to size as possible. No one's going to mind.
Cool.
That brings us to the end of the episode. Hopefully you found something new or useful while listening, and if you did, throwing us a like would be greatly appreciated. If you want to make sure you don't miss any episodes, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on the bell so you get notifications as soon as the next one drops. It really is the best way to help a small channel like ours. And if you can't wait and you do want early access, we have a Patreon where you can get exclusive access to all our content ahead of time. As always, we'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback. So drop a comment below and we'll get right to you. Thank you so much for listening. I'm your host Ryan. This has been Turning Point Tactics, and we'll see you next week.